Here is your complete, high-retention Neville Goddard video script, strictly adhering to the enhanced OmniScript chassis framework and all specified parameters. Video opens with a subtle, mystical visual, perhaps an antique globe or a faint celestial glow, then shifts to Neville Goddard, actor addressing the camera directly, a knowing smile on his face. Your desires, your dreams, your deepest yearnings are not coincidences, they are divine instructions. Have you ever felt trapped in a loop of unfulfilled wishes, constantly striving, yet seeing your greatest aspirations slip through your fingers, leaving you with a gnawing sense of, what if, and why not me? That heavy cloak of powerlessness, the feeling that external circumstances dictate your fate, is a cruel illusion, perpetuating a cycle of frustration and resignation. I tell you, there is a science to realizing your every desire. I have personally witnessed countless men and women, once bound by lack and limitation, transmute their lives, achieving wealth, health, and profound happiness simply by mastering this one principle. From a struggling clerk who became a prosperous businessman overnight to a barren woman who held her own child, this power is absolute and available to all who dare to claim it. Today, I will unveil the exact, timeless formula that unlocks this inherent power within you. You will discover why your imagination is not merely idle fantasy, but the very chisel of creation. We will expose the traps that keep most men bound and equip you with the precise method to shatter those chains forever. And by the end of our time together, you will understand how to revise your past, command your present, and inevitably shape a future beyond your wildest imaginings. Prepare to awaken the God within. I recall a pivotal moment in my own life, back in 1933, when I encountered my dear friend Abdullah in New York. I shared with him my burning desire to travel to Barbados, my home, but confessed I had no money for the fare. Abdullah, a man of profound wisdom, looked me in the eye and simply said, "You are in Barbados." He commanded me to live and feel as if I were already there, to assume the state of being in Barbados. I protested, citing my empty pockets, but he was adamant, "You are in Barbados." Every day for weeks, I would sit in my small New York apartment and, closing my eyes, I would feel the warm air, smell the salt of the sea, hear the sounds of my home. I would assume the feeling of being there. One day, seemingly out of nowhere, an unexpected check arrived, more than enough to cover my passage. The obstacle of money dissolved because I assumed the reality of my desire. Your subconscious mind, that vast, fertile soil within you, knows no difference between a vividly imagined experience and one lived in the physical world. When you assume a state, truly feel yourself to be in it, you are impressing upon this soil the blueprint of your desired reality. The feeling of being something is the language it understands. It is not logic, it is pure, unadulterated conviction of I am. Most men identify with their current limitations, their empty pockets, their present circumstances, constantly declaring, "I am poor, I am sick, I am alone." They unwittingly perpetuate the very conditions they despise. The man who understands the law of assumption, however, declares, "I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am loved," not as a mere wish, but as an undeniable, present fact within his imagination. He knows that the outer world will always conform to the inner assumption. Let me ask you, what if everything you have ever been taught about your limitations was a carefully constructed lie, and the truth of your infinite power has been awaiting your recognition all along? My own journey to Barbados is just one example, but this principle echoes through history. Consider the story of Joseph in the biblical narrative. His brothers threw him into a pit, sold him into slavery, and he eventually found himself imprisoned in Egypt. Yet, even in the depths of despair, Joseph held onto a vivid inner vision, a dream of rising to power, of even his family bowing before him. He did not deny his physical reality, but he dwelt in his imaginative reality. Through a series of unfolding events, he interpreted Pharaoh's dreams, rose to become second in command, and ultimately, his brothers did indeed bow before him, fulfilling the inner blueprint he had steadfastly maintained. Joseph's imagination, held with unwavering conviction, literally carved his future out of the seemingly intractable stone of his present circumstances. The external world, my friends, is nothing more than a reflection, an outpicturing of your inner world, your dominant assumptions and imaginings. Your imagination is not a frivolous escape from reality. It is the fundamental tool through which reality itself is constructed. Every single outer fact was first an inner act. Every invention, every empire, every personal triumph began as an imaginative concept, held and felt as real. When you truly grasp this, you realize you are not a passive observer of life, but the active architect. Most men passively accept what their five senses present to them, believing that seeing is believing. They chase after external changes, rearranging furniture in a room they believe someone else designed. The man who truly knows, however, understands that believing is seeing. He knows that to change the outer picture, he must first change the inner impression, using his imagination as the divine chisel. Affirmation. Command affirmation now. Say this aloud with me, truly feeling its power. I command my imagination to manifest my perfect reality now. Repeat this daily, ingrain it within your being. Listen to me. The belief that your imagination is merely make-believe is the greatest deception that keeps men in chains. It is the very engine of your existence. I had a student once who desperately desired a specific promotion but felt utterly overlooked in his company. He came to me disheartened, listing all the reasons why it was impossible. I told him, forget the how, focus on the feeling. I instructed him to close his eyes each night and feel the thrill of sitting in that new office, of the congratulations from his colleagues, of the satisfaction of his increased responsibilities. He wasn't to merely think about the promotion, but to feel the dignity, the joy, the relief of having it. Within weeks, the impossible happened. The position became available, and through a series of unexpected events, he was offered the promotion. He later told me, Neville, the feeling was the secret. Once I felt it, it was inevitable. The subconscious mind responds to feeling, not mere intellectual assent. It does not understand words alone. It understands the emotional vibration, the sensory richness of an assumed state. To impress your desire upon the subconscious, you must clothe your imaginative act with the garment of feeling. Feel the naturalness of your wish fulfilled, the relief, the joy, the satisfaction. This emotional intensity is the crucial ingredient that activates the creative power within. A dry intellectual affirmation is like planting a seed without water. It simply will not sprout. Most men make their requests to the universe with hope, wishing, and a deep undercurrent of doubt, never truly inhabiting the emotional state of their desire already being a fact. This creates a contradictory vibration that neutralizes their efforts. The man who understands that feeling is the secret, however, dives deeply into the state of the wish fulfilled, cultivating the feeling of having what he desires until it becomes his dominant reality. Knowing this is the only language his creative power understands. Remember that question I posed earlier about the traps that keep most men bound. This misunderstanding of feeling is one of the most insidious. Many years ago, I had a rather unpleasant encounter with a man who spoke harshly to me, leaving me feeling wounded and resentful. I carried that negative feeling with me for days, replaying the conversation in my mind, each time feeling the sting anew. Then I remembered my own teachings on revision. That night, before I slept, I purposefully replayed the scene in my imagination. But this time, I changed the script. I imagined the man speaking to me with kindness, with respect, perhaps even offering an apology. I felt the relief, the understanding, the peace of this revised encounter. I did this several nights in a row, truly living in the revised scene until it felt more real than the actual event. Within a week, to my astonishment, the man contacted me, utterly unprompted, to apologize for his behavior, explaining he had been under immense stress. My outer world mirrored my inner revision. The past is not fixed. It is a living memory within your imagination. Its power over you exists only because you continue to mentally reenact it in its original, undesirable form. When you revise an unpleasant memory, when you lovingly change the script of a past event, you are not denying what happened. You are neutralizing its negative emotional charge in the present and, more importantly, altering its trajectory into your future. You are sending a new instruction to your subconscious, effectively saying, this is how that event should have happened, and therefore, this is the vibration I now carry forward. This fundamentally alters your emotional state and consequently, your future manifestations. Most men remain prisoners of their past, constantly rehashing old hurts, blaming others, and allowing yesterday's misfortunes to dictate today's possibilities. They believe the past is immutable. The man who truly harnesses his imaginative power, however, realizes that he can consciously re-edit his past, transforming painful memories into empowering ones, thus liberating himself from karmic cycles and paving the way for a more harmonious future. Affirmation, declaration, affirmation. Say this with profound conviction. I am the conscious creator of my world, absolute and free from the chains of the past. Let that truth penetrate every cell of your being. In the next 3 minutes, I will reveal the vital final step after assuming your desire, a step most men tragically overlook, which ensures effortless manifestation. My students often struggled with this. They would assume their desire, feel it, but then continue to fret, to ask, when will it happen? How will it happen? This anxiety, this doubt, is the very antithesis of living in the end. I once taught a woman who yearned for a new home. She vividly imagined every detail, the scent of fresh paint, the feel of the sunlight in the kitchen, the joy of decorating. I told her, now forget it. Once you have lived in the end, it is done. It is not your concern how or when, only that it is. She struggled initially, but eventually found peace in the knowledge that her desire was fulfilled. She stopped looking for signs, she simply knew. Within a month, she received an unexpected offer on her current home and found the perfect new house that matched her exact imaginative blueprint, all unfolding without her desperate effort. Once you have fully assumed the state of the wish fulfilled, once you have clothed it in feeling and impressed it upon your subconscious, your work is done. Any further effort, any anxiety, any how-to thinking only introduces doubt and sabotages the process. Your subconscious mind, once imprinted with the truth of your desire, will set about orchestrating the necessary events, people, and circumstances in the physical world to manifest it. It is like planting a seed. You do not dig it up daily to check its progress. You plant it, water it, and trust the inherent wisdom of nature to bring forth the sprout. Rest in the certainty of your fulfillment. Most men, after a brief imaginative act, immediately return to their previous state of doubt and worry. They frantically search for external proof or try to force the manifestation through conscious effort, thereby broadcasting a message of lack to the universe. The man who truly understands, however, knows that once the assumption is made and felt as real, his only task is to remain in that blissful state of it is done, letting go of all anxious thought and trusting the unseen hand to bring it forth. The idea that you must continually strive and struggle for what you desire is a grand delusion perpetuated by a world that has forgotten its true power. Your inner certainty is the only effort required. Early in my journey, even after witnessing the power of assumption, I sometimes found myself battling old, ingrained beliefs, doubts about my own worth, fears of external limitations. There was a time I desired a substantial sum of money for a specific project. I assumed the feeling of having it, but nagging voices would creep in. You're not educated enough. You don't have the connections. It's too much. These were the belief challenges that threatened to derail my creation. I realized I had to confront these internal saboteurs. Instead of fighting them, I would acknowledge their presence, but then immediately reaffirm my chosen state. Yes, I hear the doubt, I would tell myself, but I am wealthy. I am resourceful. My imagination is the source of all supply. By persistently returning to my desired feeling, these old beliefs withered away, and the money always appeared, often in the most unexpected ways. Your current reality, with all its limitations, is merely a reflection of your past dominant assumptions and beliefs. When you begin to consciously imagine a new reality, these old, deeply ingrained patterns will rise to the surface as resistance, as doubts, as reasons why it can't happen. This is not a sign of failure. It is a sign that your subconscious is being challenged, and the old structure is beginning to crumble. Your work is not to fight these old beliefs, but to persist in your new assumption, gently but firmly impressing the desired state until it overwhelms and transforms the old programming. This consistent mental diet of the wish fulfilled dissolves all limiting belief challenges. Most men, when faced with internal doubt or external contradiction, immediately abandon their desired state, concluding that their imagination is powerless or that their desire is impossible. They allow the old beliefs to reassert their dominance. The man who is truly a master, however, understands that resistance is merely the old dying, making way for the new. He uses these challenges as opportunities to strengthen his resolve, to affirm his chosen state with even greater conviction, knowing that persistence in feeling is the way to dissolve all opposing forces. Affirmation process affirmation. Let this become your inner truth. Say it with me now, truly meaning it. My disciplined imagination always produces my desired results, dissolving all doubt and revealing my inherent power. Embrace this process daily. Tension and release, rising stakes and relief revelation. You might feel, at times, that the world is conspiring against you, that your desires are too grand, that your efforts are futile. This feeling of helplessness can become a crushing weight, leading to a life of quiet desperation, never experiencing the true joy and abundance that is your birthright. But there is a simple, undeniable truth that shatters these illusions. Your world is not outside of you. It is emanating from you, waiting for your divine direction. The struggle ceases the moment you claim your imaginative throne. Here's exactly how you begin to embody this truth and consciously create your reality, starting today. First, define your desire. Be clear, specific, and know precisely what you wish to experience. Second, create your imaginative scene. Craft a brief, vivid mental scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire. It must be something you would naturally experience after your wish has been granted. It could be a conversation, a feeling, a sight. Third, enter the state of the wish fulfilled. As you drift off to sleep, or during moments of quiet reflection, enter this imaginative scene. Feel the naturalness of it. Feel the relief, the joy, the satisfaction as if it is happening now. Loop this scene over and over until it feels utterly real. Fourth, live in the end. Once you have impressed this feeling, release all anxiety about how it will come to pass. Your work is done. Maintain the inner state of knowing, of acceptance, of quiet joy. By consistently applying this ritual daily, particularly as you drift to sleep, you will inevitably begin to see astonishing changes in your physical world within the next 30 days. Some manifestations occur instantly. Others require a little more persistence to dissolve deep-seated old beliefs, but they will occur. We have meticulously dismantled the illusion that imagination is merely idle fantasy. It is creation itself. We have shattered the chains of powerlessness, revealing you as the conscious architect of your destiny. We have proven that external circumstances do not dictate your fate. Rather, they reflect your inner state. The notion that effort alone guarantees success has been replaced with the understanding that feeling and assumption are the true keys, and the grand delusion that the past cannot be changed has been utterly destroyed by the power of revision. You now comprehend why your imagination is not merely a daydream, but the very chisel of creation, shaping the formless into form. You understand the traps that keep most men bound, their reliance on external reality, and their ignorance of the power of feeling. You possess the precise method to shatter those chains forever through the law of assumption and living in the end. And you now know precisely how to revise your past, command your present, and inevitably shape a future beyond your wildest imaginings. The choice is now irrevocably yours. Will you continue to wander aimlessly, a creature of circumstance, tossed about by the winds of external events and the echoes of an unrevised past? Or will you, at this very moment, awaken the divine architect within, step onto your imaginative throne, and begin to consciously, deliberately, and joyfully create the magnificent reality that awaits your command? The power is yours, it always has been. This truth, my friends, is not merely to be heard, it is to be embodied. Play this again. Return to these principles daily. Absorb them until they become the very fabric of your being. For when you truly live from this understanding, your world will never be the same. God bless you.